2 days ago on the channel, we talked about the running back depth chart for the Kansas City Chiefs. Yesterday, we ran down all of the wide receivers currently listed on the Kansas City Chiefs roster. And today we're going over tight ends. Now, we know Travis Kelce and Noah Gray has been here for a few years now. So it may seem on the surface like, well, the tight end position, how exciting could this really be? But guys, this may be a position group every bit as pivotal as those other two, maybe more so, especially when you start to think about what it is that Andy Reid likes to do and what Andy Reid has wanted to do for about 3 seasons now, wanting to get Jody Fortson mixed into things, wanting to get Noah Gray on the field in different situations, wanting to have 3 tight end sets that really exploit the weaknesses of a defense, but he hasn't really been able to do that because someone is always hurt or something is happening on the field or there's shortages on other positions. Something is always, it seems, going wrong for the Kansas City Chiefs and keeping them from deploying a 3 tight end set that is truly effective. And by someone's always hurt, basically, I mean Jody Fortson. Anyway, there are 6 names on the roster right now. Obviously, there's Travis Kelce, Noah Gray, the recently drafted Jared Wiley. You've got Donner and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen. There's Irv Smith as well. Not a reindeer, but someone that has been forgotten just like Rudolph. There is, of course, Garrett Prince, another Prince and King and Kingsley on the Kansas City Chiefs, but there's also a very interesting prospect who has joined the Kansas City Chiefs as an undrafted rookie free agent, and that is Baylor Cupp, who really has some interesting measurables. Those measurables change a little bit depending on where you're getting the numbers, but pretty consistently, he looks like he's 6'6", 260 pounds, and runs a 4.55 40. Didn't produce a whole lot in college, was playing second fiddle to a younger player at Texas Tech, but I think he's got some serious potential for the Kansas City Chiefs. So the depth chart as I project it heading into training camp, pardon me, I don't know why I blinked on the word training, on the phrase training camp, but the depth chart as I project it heading into training camp, obviously we're in OTAs now, is maybe a little bit different than you would, than maybe would be commonly perceived at this moment. Travis Kelce is obviously the number 1 tight end on this roster. The important numbers here to consider with Travis Kelce are age and 40-time age, because he's not the youngest guy on the roster, and 40-time because he's not running a 4.61 40 any longer. That 4.61 number is a very old number. Now, I know I kind of make fun of Travis Kelce on the channel way more than anyone like me has the right to do, but one thing that I have to acknowledge Travis Kelce has done very well during his NFL tenure is, and maybe better than any skilled position player I have ever seen, now that I think about it, he has transitioned from physical anomaly. He was an anomaly as a young player in the NFL, a very fast and capable route runner as a tight end, someone who was good in the open field. He has transitioned to being someone who is very smart and savvy at reading defenses, and he has done this, I mean, basically hand in hand with how players age and your body breaks down a little bit, etc. Now, we went over the schedule drop a few days ago and some of the ramifications of the way that they have the Kansas City Chiefs playing on every day of the week except for Tuesday, for some unbeknownst to anything idea, including what if memory serves me correctly, is 3 games over the course of 11 days. Now, Travis Kelce is 34 years old. Travis Kelce looked like a different athlete last year. Travis Kelce was the final walkthrough before the season opener, ended up tweaking something and not being able to play in Week 1. The NFL season is now 17 games long, not 16. Since the 2015 season, Travis Kelce has played 22 postseason games, meaning he has played more than an additional season of football as playoff games. From 2015 through 2022, Travis Kelce played a minimum of 872 snaps and a maximum of 993 snaps, more often than not crossing the 900 snap barrier. Travis Kelce played 775 snaps in 2023. A large step back from a snaps per season basis. And that needs to continue if Travis Kelce's shelf life in the NFL is to be extended. So when you look at those names under Travis Kelce on my projection here, it is important for a couple of them at least to step up and become viable options. You don't have to replace Travis Kelce. No one's going to replace Travis Kelce, but you have to be a valid target on the field. The number 2 name there, and this might not be projected all that often, I think that Jared Wiley is going to step in and immediately outpace Noah Gray for snaps for the Kansas City Chiefs. When you look at these two athletes, Travis Kelce and Jared Wiley, compared to each other, Jared Wiley is a little bit taller. He's 1 pound lighter. He's 11 years younger, and his 40-yard dash was 1/100th of a second slower. No, they're not the same guy. It would be unfair to Travis Kelce to suggest that. But when you're looking at the numbers, if you can teach Jared Wiley how to get closer to who Travis Kelce is, then it becomes something that's very fruitful for an offense. While and whereas Noah Gray has been more of an H-back for the Kansas City Chiefs, Jared Wiley is a true to size tight end. And if you want to get technical, Travis Kelce is 6'4" 3/4, while as Jared Wiley is 6'6" 1/4. But here's the comparison that is really interesting to me. The Kansas City Chiefs offense, when they had 3 tight ends, was really making things look different during that 2022 season. And if name for name you're just swapping one player out, Travis Kelce and Noah Gray were playing with Jody Fortson as the 3rd tight end that season. Now you're swapping in Jared Wiley. Obviously, Travis Kelce's a little bit older than he was that season, but here are the fun comparisons. Jody Fortson was seen as a big wide receiver. He was 6'4" 1/4", 226 pounds. Obviously, Jared Wiley is 2 inches taller than him. Jared Wiley is about 23 pounds heavier than was Jody Fortson, but Jody Fortson was a converted wide receiver. He was going to be more of an athletic kind of guy. Jody Fortson's 40-yard dash was 4.84 compared to Jared Wiley's 4.62. Jody Fortson's vertical leap was 34 inches compared to Jared Wiley's 37. Jody Fortson's 20-yard short shuttle was 4.59 compared to 4.52 for Jared Wiley. Jody Fortson's 3-cone drill was 7.52 compared to 7.19 for Jared Wiley. Jared Wiley is a much more impressive athlete than was Jody Fortson. And now Noah Gray. Look, I know it sounds like I hate Noah Gray sometimes, and obviously putting a 4th-round rookie over the 4th-year player in Noah Gray seems like I am short-selling Noah Gray. Really, it's that I'm just that impressed with Jared Wiley, and honestly, I considered spelling Noah Gray Grey in order to make Louis Rees Zammit more comfortable. But Noah Gray's stat sheet looks like this. As a rookie, 10 targets, 7 receptions, 36 yards, and a touchdown. I find it difficult to really hold a rookie season against a player, oftentimes, especially if they're playing behind a first-ballot Hall of Famer. You just never know what's going to go on there. In 2022, his sophomore campaign in the NFL, Noah Gray had 34 targets, 28 receptions, 299 yards, and a touchdown. A decent season, I guess, for a backup tight end. And then last year, he had 41 targets, 28 receptions, 305 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He has caught Sky Moore syndrome. Somehow, basically playing the exact same season 2 years in a row. I think that Noah Gray is a nice piece to have on the roster. I think that Noah Gray is competent on the football field. I think that Noah Gray sometimes makes pretty good plays out there. I am much more comfortable if Noah Gray is the third tight end than the second tight end. And I think it works out better for Noah Gray too, especially if we're going to be seeing 3 tight end formations. I mean, really, when you break it down, if the Kansas City Chiefs are rolling a 3 tight end set out there, oftentimes you're probably going to get Noah Gray matched up against somebody's middle linebacker. And guys, that's a matchup I'll take. What will be really interesting for Noah Gray is, will the Kansas City Chiefs roll out there with 3 tight ends and 0 running backs? 5 linemen, 1 quarterback, that's 6, 3 tight ends, that's 9, 2 wide receivers, that's 11. If you have Travis Kelce, Jared Wiley, Noah Gray on the field at the same time as Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown, I don't know what the defense does against that formation. Maybe you've got Wiley and Kelce on the same side of the formation and you motion Xavier Worthy back. Or is it a direct snap? Are they just trying to overload the zone? That becomes a nightmare, in my opinion, for an opposing defense, and it's something that Andy Reid is keen enough to be able to do. Number 4 on this list is the recently signed Irv Smith. Now, Irv Smith was, I say recently signed, but he was signed before the NFL draft. I don't think the Kansas City Chiefs really banked on the ability to draft a player like Jared Wiley in the 4th round. And I think I said this at the time that he was signed. Irv Smith is, really comparable to Noah Gray. 6'2 versus 6'3, 240 and 240. Both are 25 years old. Noah Gray ran a 4.6 flat. Irv Smith ran a 4.63. Even statistically, they're not all that at odds, except for the fact that in his sophomore campaign, Irv Smith grinded out 5 touchdowns. Now, I believe that Noah Gray is safe on this roster. I think that if nothing else, his familiarity with the playbook is going to aid him in beating out Irv Smith for that 3rd tight end spot. I kind of very highly doubt the Kansas City Chiefs will carry 4 tight ends into the season, but probably like last year, it'll be one of these things where 4 tight ends definitely find their way onto the active roster at some point during the season for the Kansas City Chiefs. But I will say Brett Veach seems very, very convinced that he is going to do everything in his power to win a 3rd consecutive Super Bowl, and if they get to training camp and Irv Smith just shows out and Noah Gray does not improve over the last 2 seasons, then I think maybe, I don't think that Brett Veach is here's what I'll say. I don't think Brett Veach will be too sentimental to make that move. I don't see it happening. I think that Noah Gray is safe in his position as the 3rd tight end, but I think it would if it needed to. The real question here for me is this 5th name at tight end. Baylor Cupp, 6'6", on the Chiefs website, he's listed at 243. Every other place I can find a weight for him, he is listed at 260 pounds. He played a little bit longer in college, so he's coming out at 24 years old. Baylor Cupp, by the way, is from Texas Tech. I think I keep messing that up. He is from Texas Tech by way of Texas A&M, never played college football at Baylor. Here's the thing. That 4.55 40-yard dash time might be apocryphal. He did participate at the Big 12 Combine event. He had a pretty impressive 23 reps on the bench press. He had a 30-inch vertical leap. He had a 9-foot 11-inch broad jump. He did not run the 40-yard dash at that combine. Everywhere that I can see a 40-yard dash listed for Baylor Cupp, it says 4.55. If he is 6'6", 260 with a 4.55 40-yard dash, and he does 30 reps on the bench press, this is going to be a fairly impressive player on the football field. Both Irv Smith and Noah Gray might be in trouble. But scrambling his entire college career is 23 receptions, 246 yards, and 4 touchdowns. How could that guy be better at the pro level? Tight end is a funny position, guys. George Kittle's best season at Iowa was 22 receptions for 314 yards. So maybe, just maybe, the Kansas City Chiefs have a diamond in the rough with Baylor Cupp. Either way, the Kansas City Chiefs have a 6'5" tight end and 2 6'6" tight ends. Finally, the Kansas City Chiefs have Gerrit Prince as well. He's an athlete that definitely shows some promise. He's a guy that if you can get the ball in his hands, has some moves in the open field. It's difficult to see him really climbing very far up this depth chart. I think that the Kansas City Chiefs have, there's Jared Wiley hasn't done anything in the NFL yet. Noah Gray has never really broken out. Irv Smith is the same guy as him. Baylor Cupp has maybe a lot of potential. There's not a whole lot of provens on this 6-man depth chart, but there's a whole lot of maybes. And I'm not sure in this list of names how it is that Gerrit Prince really separates himself from these other guys. I think Gerrit Prince is probably an NFL tight end. And I think that last August when he was signed to the practice squad, it was a just in case, a break glass in case of emergency on Jody Fortson type situation, and it kind of just didn't ever pan out. Guys, this group is going to be very fun to watch in training camp. So that's it, guys. Those are the thoughts that I have on the tight end position as it is constituted right now. Tomorrow, I will be back, I believe, with the offensive line. But guys, if you were here yesterday, you saw in this portion of the show a little bit of a reaction from your good old buddy Scrambling Armchair about a hate comment. Guy, I keep getting absolutely roasted in the comments over none other than Louis Rees-Zammit. And I don't understand what I have said that is all that unfair. So yesterday, I had a falling out with Daryl. Today, it is none other than Peter. Peter says this: your view on Louis RZ is really, really weird and seems extremely ignorant and prejudicial. Plenty of extremely talented athletes have switched sports, including going from rugby to the NFL. What is it about this guy that makes you blind to his glaringly obvious physical traits? All he needs to do is literally learn the playbook. I'm afraid that's not literally all he needs to do. Rugby and football are two very different sports. Is that all that unfair? This is okay. So if I were to say, you know what, I really think we should sign, as the Kansas City Chiefs, Zach Greinke. He can really throw a ball. That is a really great trait to have in a quarterback. It wouldn't make any sense. Now, I will concede that the rugby ball is very similarly shaped to the NFL football. I will concede that the sort of orchestrated chaos that happens on a rugby field is loosely translatable to the NFL. Guys, it's a completely different sport. It's a completely different sport. I don't understand how I am being all that unfair. Do I think that he has physical traits that would very easily transition him to foot? He's good with balance through contact. He is good with vision and reading things that are happening ahead of him, reading things that are coming towards him. Those all seem like absolutely stellar traits to have in a running back and or a kick returner. Guys, when LRZ was first signed, what position did you think he was going to play? Because it could have been wide receiver. It could have been running back. In fact, he's a little bit tall for running back, isn't he? It could have been safety. Perhaps it was outside linebacker. Maybe it was some weird role that they had cooked up on the defense for a pass rush specialist. We didn't know. And this was 10 days ago? We didn't know. Maybe it was longer than that. I don't remember. But as of not very long ago, we didn't even know what position he would be playing. Tell me how I'm being unfair in saying that he's a very good athlete. It is difficult to tell if that's going to translate to the NFL. Guys, Peter, how many football players that dominated in the NCAA have had trouble transitioning to the NFL? Louis Rees-Zammit is not transitioning from football at one level to football at another level. He's transitioning from almost kind of football to NFL football at the highest level that there is. If I'm being the jerk here, let me know, guys. I would love, look, every preseason there are, and this is going to sound like a strange term to kind of use for football, there are sweethearts every preseason. 2 years ago, we had Justin Ross 2 years ago. Last season, so this year, I can tell one of the more popular rookies on the team is Jared Wiley. Why? Because I did a video for every draft pick, and the video for Jared Wiley did much better than Xavier Worthy, did much, much better than Kingsley Suamatea, did the best in that playlist. I understand being excited about an athlete like Louis Rees-Zammit signing with the Kansas City Chiefs. It is difficult to forecast that translating to the NFL. That's all I'm saying. Tomorrow, I will be back with the offensive lineman. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Chiefs fans. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, the Chiefs are the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week, and I hope to have you back for the next one.